How's it going, folks? Welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to a brand new match preview. The international break is over. It seems like we've had far too many international breaks this season, but Wolves are finally back at Molineux. We're going to be facing off against West Ham United, an in-form West Ham side. Obviously, we'll get the West Ham perspective later on in the video with a West Ham fan waxing lyrical about their start to the campaign. But as always, guys, I'm going to be giving my thoughts ahead of the match. We'll look at the team news and my predicted lineup. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and let me know your thoughts on Wolves' return to Premier League action. And a couple of quick shout-outs before we start off, both Christmas related. First one being Talking Wolves Christmas cards. I brought these up a couple of previews ago. It's getting closer to Christmas. We're just over a month away now. So if you want to grab yourself some Wolves-themed Christmas cards, talkingwolves.co.uk. We've got the Raul Jimenez themed Christmas cards, whether you've got some Wolves friends and family, or even if you just want to wind up a rival fan, check those out. And also a shout out to the guys over at Not Just. They've sent us out this fantastic Free Lions England festive jumper. Really, really cool. Fantastic quality. UK made, recycled materials. 50% of the profits are going to mental health charities as well. But if you want to grab yourself one of those for this Christmas, ahead of obviously the World Cup next year as well, then I'll make sure I leave a link for you guys in the description down below. But Wolves returning to Molineux. We've got West Ham United, and we want to be bouncing back after that disappointing defeat against Crystal Palace in the final game before the international break. A dreadful result, dreadful performance from Wolves, really, at Selhurst Park. You would have heard our reaction on the My Match review, and the fans react as well. And things just didn't quite go to plan for Wolves. And I was really, really disappointed with how we approached that game. But I'm hoping now we're back at Molineux, we can get on the front foot a little bit more and trying to attack West Ham, who their back four, you know, they're going to be missing on Bonner, who's been a big part of their back four alongside Kurt Zuma. Hopefully we can attack them a little bit more and maybe an untested back line. But they're on form. They're going to be a difficult team to defend against. Wolves, under Nuno, albeit last season, really, really struggled. I think they beat us 4-0 and beat us 3-2 as well. Disastrous both games. Really, really poor defensively. So it'll be interesting to see how Bruno lines us up. But it'll be it would be a fantastic win if we were able to get it. Of course, we've had international break. As far as I'm aware, there's no different team news. We've not had any injured players whilst going out on internationals. We've had a few players play quite a number of minutes. I know Fabio Silva played for the 21s. We saw Raul Jimenez play a little bit for Mexico. Martinho and Neves having little spells for Portugal. Obviously, Jose Sarr in the Portugal squad. I don't think he got any minutes, though. Connor Cody playing for England. So plenty of players out on international duty. I think even Kiana Hoover, who were possibly you're not expecting to play against West Ham, but managed to grab a goal for the Holland youth sides as well. So a productive international break. Bruno obviously would have spent time with the guys that were still at Compton. Adama would have been there. We saw, obviously, Trincao will still be there. And also a couple of the players that are actually out on loan from the club. Dion Sanderson, Conor Ronan, Austin Samuels, Ryan Giles. They all came back to Molineux for Bruno Lage to have a proper closer look at them. Maybe, who knows, we might see one or two of those return in January when we've got a couple of players out on international duties. But yeah, as far as team news goes, it's as we'd expect, really. Of course, if there's any extra news in Bruno Lage's press conference, we're going to see that on Friday. So be sure to be following us on our socials at Talking Wolves to keep you up to date with those. But time for my predicted lineup, and I'm probably, although I probably shouldn't, but I think it will be an unchanged team, and I think it'll be the exact same team that played up against Palace. So I'm gone with Jose Sarr in goal, a back three of Romain Saiss, Conor Cody and Max Kilman, left wing back of Ryan Aït-Nouri, right wing back of Nelson Semedo. I think he'll stick with Ruben Neves and João Moutinho in the middle. And then the front three, I think it's definitely Hwang, definitely Jimenez. I would say it's going to be Trincao as well, folks. But who knows? Adama, I don't know what the situation is regarding Adama Traoré at the moment. There have been whispers this week, albeit not from highly reputable sources, regarding Adama's future. Barcelona mentioned again. Liverpool mentioned again. But I would probably, I think Bruno will stick with Trincao. Although I would love to see give Adama a go. I think he's, historically over the last few years had decent games against West Ham United, as has Jimenez. Jimenez has scored a good few goals against West Ham, so I'm hoping he could be on his A game as well. So it's going to be a tricky game, but let's find out more about our opponents, West Ham United. I spoke to Luke from the West Ham Network, and this is his thoughts ahead of Wolves versus West Ham. So here we are for the West Ham perspective ahead of Wolves versus West Ham. I'm here with Luke from the West Ham Network. Luke, how you keeping, man?
Yeah, I'm good, mate.
No, thanks for coming on. Just going to ask you a few questions, learn a little bit more about West Ham. But, mate, it's been a really strong, sort of from the outside, looks like a really strong start for West Ham this season. Doing really well in the Premier League, doing well in the League Cup, Europa League. Mate, all things are rosy at the moment, aren't they?
This is unprecedented territory for West Ham. I mean, we've had seasons before where we've started really well, but it'll only be in the league or something like that. But we're in 3 competitions and we're doing well in all of them. And I don't know one West Ham fan at the minute who doesn't feel like they're dreaming. I mean, this is everything we've wanted from West Ham for years and years and years. Everything the owners told us was going to happen when we moved stadium and stuff like that. And it's taken us 6 years to get there, really relatively near about, in a way that we didn't think would happen. We've hardly spent any money, and with David Moyes as our manager, everyone wrote off after the Man United setup. It's just amazing, mate. So at the minute, I don't want to pinch myself because I don't want to wake up. It's amazing.
And I was going to say, I mean, looking at your transfers, you spent a little bit of money in the summer, but obviously nowhere near, to some of the bigger clubs that are in the same sort of competitions as you guys. I think it was around 60 million spent, roughly, or just under 60 million on Kurt Zouma and Nikola Vlasic. How have those two been getting on for you so far?
Do you know, I forget that's how much we spent on Vlasic, because he doesn't seem like that sort of player. It doesn't seem like someone's gone, right, it's got to go in. Because to us, really, 20, 30 million is a player that is starting in the first team like Zouma has. But at the minute, I think what it is our midfield is so concrete that you've got to be absolutely bang on at that level right away to even stand a chance. If you're Jesse Lingard, like he was last season, he gets in. That's fair enough. But if anyone under that level, you're going to take him a little while to get onto grips with things. Like we have, like Bowen and Ben Rama. They weren't first team regulars a couple of seasons ago. They had to be really worked into. To get their place in the team. But Zuma's come in, and I think it was kind of thing we thought we can't really sit him on the bench because where he's come from to what we thought, the money we've paid and his experience and the level he was at, you can't really stick someone like that on the bench. And if you do, they'll probably get the ump about it anyway. So he's come in and he's been absolute rock, and it's a shame really because we'll probably talk about it at some point. But Obonna's just been just suffered an injury that could keep him out for the rest of the season. And them two were working really well together. We went so many games without conceding a goal this season. He's just scored his first goal against Liverpool, Zouma, and he's been fantastic for us. The crowd love him already. They shout Zouma every time he gets on the ball, so he's already a crowd favourite. Vlasic is a good player. You can tell he's a good player. He's got something, but he's just. I think he's not needed right now. I think we were at that point where. We're not relying on players going, right, if you're good enough you're going to get in. It's like, no, you've got to be really good to get in. And the form, if we were like mid-table or something, we'd be knocked out of the cups. It'd be different maybe, but the way that the team in the midfield is performing at the moment, it's a bit like he's getting his chances in the cups and in the Europa League, because right now we can't afford to really take away that 3 of 4 nows. Ben Rama and Bowen is too good for us to go, no, someone else is coming in. If he was maybe like a midfielder and maybe Souček was underperforming or something like that, then maybe he'd take his place, but he's not that sort of player. He's more of an attacking midfielder / winger, so or can play striker, but we're not really signing him for that reason. So yeah.
No, I mean, it's been a ridiculous start for you guys, and I saw looking at your fixtures recently, obviously beating Liverpool, which is a huge result. So you sat third in the league.
What a night.
Beating obviously City, albeit in the EFL Cup, smashed Villa recently as well, and you're looking at your fixtures. Even between now and Christmas, you got a handful of a few difficult games, but you've already played a large part of those teams. You'd probably expect to be in the top 6 or top 7. So if you guys can keep your consistency going, who knows where you're going to be by the new year? You sat in a really, really decent position.
Last season we finished top 6 because, for me personally, we didn't really beat the top 6. We beat the
Yeah.
teams around us and the teams
Hmm.
struggling. Now West Ham are notorious for getting up for the big games and then losing for against the bottom teams. So we'd
Yeah.
beat Man United 1-0 away and then we'd lose 3-0 to Burnley at home the next week. That was how it worked out. But we were the complete opposite last season and it actually worked out for us. And
Mm.
this season, I'd say what sums it up. Today, a Man City fan at work came up to me. He went, "I don't want to play your lot anytime soon." And I was a bit taken aback by that. And I was like, "But
Yeah.
you're Man City. I mean, okay, we beat them in the cup, but it was both teams sort of second team, and no, I don't think really any team had enough to win it. So penalties was probably more or less fair.
Yeah.
But at the minute, it's crazy. To be a West Ham fan right now is unbelievable and it's unreal. And there are many. This is I've grown up with my dad and my granddad and the teams back in the 80s with West Ham folklore history. You got legends from that era. The greatest teams West Ham have ever had. We might have won a FA Cup sort of thing, but the football was amazing to watch and stuff like that. I've got fans now saying that this could potentially be West Ham's best ever team.
Wow.
And I know that's maybe sort of jumping the gun a bit because it's only been a few games, but it's the way we're playing, the way we're doing it, and the way the whole club, the whole ethos is around going to a stadium that no one really likes at the minute. That the people are starting to like going there, and the atmosphere is incredible. And it's at the minute the run, no one wants it to stop, and you can't see it stopping either. That's the best thing about it.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, you mentioned a few players already, but, other than maybe, players like Declan Rice, Mikel Antonio in particular, getting a lot of, praise recently. For you, who have been, the best West Ham players so far this season? Who are players that Wolves should be looking out for on Saturday?
Well, 100%. The two that you just mentioned. It's
Mm.
funny because Antonio scored a goal for Jamaica last night from
Oh,
about
saw
30
that.
yards out,
Yeah.
and there is not one West Ham fan out there who's gone, "Yeah, do that for West Ham as well." We don't know how he scored it. If that's for West Ham, that ball would land at Stratford Station because give him time to think about his shooting, and he goes completely wrong. He's very much an instinct striker, but yeah, he matches what it is with him. It's kind of hard to explain, but he's the only player that can play in that position because of the way his work rate, the way he's built, and if he's out, you kind of think, well, who else is going to play in that position? So he's that important to us. At the same time, Declan Rice is a midfield marshal. The funny thing is people are now taking notice of him, but since his debut, which is about 4 years ago now, under Bilic, I think was the man who gave him his debut. That's how far back it was. He has come on leaps and bounds, and
Yeah.
most West Ham fans have said, well, the world's just catching up to something that we've known for years. I mean, put in the context, he's one of the best midfielders in the league, and he started as a centre back. And
Yeah.
he's virtually come back and and he's even talked about trying to score more goals. So for me, he's looking like a player who's going to go from being a defender to probably end up as a striker towards the end of his career. That's how mad it is. Um, at the minute, I would say there's not one player I could pick out that Wolves shouldn't be scared of because, and this is not me trying to sound big-headed or anything, but it's the
Yeah.
fact
Yeah.
that as a fan, I can't pick out a player that I go, yeah, you may have to worry about him so much because you just, for example, the Villa game, right? Ben Johnson hasn't been our first team player until the last few weeks or months because Soufal's had an injury. And he went and scored the opener against Villa, and it was a great goal. And all West Ham fans were like, "Fantastic, he's got a goal," but where did that
Yeah.
come from? So while we could all be going, this player's going to score, I put my I put my bet on West Ham every now and then, and I put this player to score, that player to score. Typical, I always get the wrong player, but out of nowhere. There could be a performance, there could be a goal. So we just don't know. This team, it's got the work rate. The work rate is so high is the fact that every
Mm.
player knows their position. They have to know what they're doing for the team. And for me, but Suchek hasn't had for me the best season for West Ham so far. But at the same time, he's doing a different role because you've got Declan Rice going forward more than he was last season. So Suchek's not chucking himself in the box to try and score a goal. He's not the danger man from corners and free kicks like he was last season. He's doing more the clean-up act. But I'm going to have to go with someone like maybe Bowen because
Yeah.
he's got a really good form at the minute, and he's the potential talking about him playing for England in the next year or so, which would be fantastic for him. He deserves it. But I think, like I said earlier on, it's going to be interesting who plays in defence because Ogbonna's Palmer's got an injury now, and he's been a massive player for us over the last 2 seasons. And someone like Dawson will probably come in for him. Very, very, very old school defender. No, there's no flair about him. He's very much, thereabouts. He'll let you know he's there. So yeah, there's a few players, but I honestly I can't really pick out one or two for myself personally.
No, I mean that's a sign of a team in good form, like you say. You can't pick out any poor performers. I think that for you as a fan, that's massive. And sort of on the flip side, I'm not expecting you to have watched every single minute of every Wolves game, but are there any Wolves players, especially on form this season, that will worry you that might cause an upset on Saturday?
I was just thinking about this because I watched. What game did I watch? I actually watched one of the games. I think you won 2-0. I think it was.
Everton?
Could have been that one because I think you could have
2-1, I
won
think it was,
3-0 and you
yeah.
had the goal chalked off. But
That was it.
your forward, I'm going to butcher his name, and I'm really sorry.
Hwang Ki-chan.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing the honours for me. I was going to embarrass myself doing that. I watched him against Everton, and he's a real live wire. And he's someone that I think that if West Ham were looking for a new striker, we'd go for him. I think Jimenez would probably suit us more because of his work rate and the way he's in the box and stuff like that. But them two, certainly. I don't really get the rest of your midfield and defence. I don't really. Every time I've seen them Wolves play, it kind of. A few of them dangerous from set pieces and stuff like that. But I know that your midfield, you've got Neves, who is also got a goal in him from about 45 yards out, which is a joke, and a few other players as well. But I don't really get the Wolves. I don't know. The Wolves they're more position based, or are they more wing play based because they have Adama Traore and stuff like that?
Yeah, we're all over the place at the moment. I think we, especially under the new coach, the new manager, I think we need some signings that he wants. I think he's still very much using Nuno's team at the moment and trying to sort of use players in the way Nuno played and trying to put his own spin on it. So I'm hoping that over the next year or so we can see Bruno Lage's team rather than a Nuno version 2, possibly. I don't know. Maybe that's been a bit harsh on Bruno.
Got to give him time. That's the only thing in the Premier League. And if you don't get time to put your mould on things, it's difficult.
Well, you see, with Moyes, you talk about Moyes there. He could have so easily. There's a lot of pressure on the board at West Ham, and sort of from an outsider, after that first season, Moyes could have possibly walked or gone, and they've stuck with him and give him a little bit of not huge amounts of money, but little bits of money here and there. And man, he's done a great job.
They've landed on their feet bringing him back because I thought he was a cheap replacement for Pellegrini. I was totally against it. I thought, no, this is I hold my hands up. I've eaten humble pie every week since he's done really well. A lot of fans said he should have been kept on the first time of keeping us up. And that's a fair comment, but no one really knew what was going on. I think when we got Pellegrini, it was so like, this is the world class manager you've all been asking for. This is the one who we've done well with Man City, who's managed Real Madrid in the past and stuff like that. And we thought there was a period. I think we won 4 games in a trot, and we thought this is what we wanted. This is what we looked for, but it just didn't work out. And Moyes has even admitted himself that since he left us and since his manager time at Sunderland and Real Sociedad and stuff like that, he's gone away and worked for UEFA, and he's actually re-educated himself on tactics and everything about how it is to be a manager in the modern game. And I think he said even himself he was a bit of a dinosaur. He kept referring to his Everton days, and he shouldn't have done that. But we're Everton Mark II. We're basically a modern version of his Everton team. And fair play to him, because for me, the whole everything about the club is down to him. I'm very much our owners out. I don't like our owners. I want new owners, and maybe with the new investment we got recently, that will improve. But everything is down to him. His backroom staff, Kevin Nolan come back into the fold. I think it's helped massively. He's a fantastic, morale booster around the club. Everything around what he's done, he's changed the ethos of the club. You don't hear from the owners in the press anymore. That's a massive one as well. That's used to really annoy West Ham fans. It doesn't happen. And to put into context, like I said earlier, I've got fans that said they'd never step foot in West Ham ever again after they moved stadiums, and they messaged me saying, "What's the best way to get to Stratford? What's any way of getting a ticket off the club?" So it's times are changing for West Ham, and it is amazing. Honestly, it does make me laugh, but at the same time, it's still an unbelievable time. This is not no. I don't think you speak to a West Ham fan ever, they'll be big-headed. It'll be more. This is just a happy time for a West Ham fan,
Yeah, I mean, I was I had a little bit of optimism going into this game, mainly because ignoring lockdown, because you guys did this twice last season. Ignoring last season, we've we've
Got
always
about
done
that.
okay at Molineux, but now the way
Yeah.
you're talking about West Ham, I am a little bit worried, to be fair, to face off against you.
I'm always
Yeah.
worried about face balls because I've really been impressed since you come up from the Championship and the way you did it. And I don't like we West Ham are notorious for doing poorly going away to northern clubs or Midlands clubs. We don't like it. We've always been a bit of a sort of a Londonish club. We like to do we'll stay where we are. We don't like travelling. But since, like I said, our form has changed, it's completely different. You now look at going away, you're thinking, well, we've got a chance. It's more best. It's more what we do to them than what they do to us.
Yeah.
And Lingard was such a massive plus for us last season that the way he scored against you guys, I've never
Oh,
seen this.
man.
I wouldn't dream of any of our players cutting walls up like that in a million years. And for him to go and do that, I mean, don't get me wrong, we were 3-0 up and you got 2 goals back. And the way that West Ham's form were last season, we used to get 3 goals up and we were worried we're going to lose 4-3 because we just used to pack it in the second
Yeah.
half. I don't know why we've done that, but we were like, that last 10 minutes against Wolves last season, we were 3-2 up, was the longest 10 minutes in West Ham fans. You know what I mean? It was a long
Yeah.
old time. So I personally, I'm confident, but I'm worried at the same time. It ain't going to be an easy game for us, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And was it 4-0 the other game? I still can't believe that.
Yeah, I can't
Right at
believe
the
that
start of
either.
the season, wasn't it? Yeah,
That
4-0.
was,
Yeah,
Haller scored as well, and he didn't
yeah,
score that often. But when he did
yeah.
score, it was good. It was a good goal to score, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and probably the toughest question, Luke, I'm going to ask you now. Can you give me a score prediction ahead of Saturday's game?
I'm going to get a lot of dislikes for saying this now,
Yeah.
whoever's watching this. But I'm going to go with 3-1.
3-1 West Ham.
No, I'm going to change it 3-2 because
Cool.
even though
Goal
we're not
fest.
conceding,
Yeah.
well, that's it. Like last season was, and you've got 2 on fire goal scorers up front, and we've got a Bonner out with an injury, so that whoever's partnering to him, they're going to have a tough time on their hands. So I'm going to say 3-2. Antonio apparently looked knackered after coming off for Jamaica last night, so whether or not he's actually starting, I don't know. This is a bit early in the week for me to
Yeah.
make a comment, but Declan Rice scored against Aston Villa, and who knows, he might score again in another away game. I don't know, but I don't want to say scorers. I'll just say 3-2. That's my prediction for the
3-2.
game. So got to go for West Ham, and I can't say 3-2. Well, that'd be blasphemy.
No, Luke, absolute pleasure having you on there, Talking Wolves. I'll leave the links for Luke's Twitter and obviously his channel in the description down below, guys. And yeah, well, apart from Saturday, mate, all the best for the rest of the season. I'll catch up with you very soon.
Thanks for having me on, and cheers for those watching. West Ham Network, that's our channel, and just thanks for giving me some airtime. It's been nice talking to you, mate.
Yeah,
Lovely.
no worries, Luke. Thanks a lot, mate.
Nice one.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So big thanks to Luke. I mean, I went in, like I said, in that section just there, I went into this game and I went into, with a mindset that, you know what, I know West Ham are doing all right, but we've done all right against them previously. But the way Luke has spoken about West Ham there gets me a little bit nervous, I suppose. They're on a high, they're on fantastic form. It's going to be a tricky game for Wolves, a little bit worried. But, I like to be a positive Wolves fan. I am going to go with a draw. Is that positive? I don't know, but maybe it's not, too ridiculous. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw for Wolves to grab a point against a really tough and in-form West Ham United team. Look, they're doing well. League, EFL Cup quarter-finalists, Europa League, more or less qualified for the knockout stages as well. What a season it has been so far for David Moyes and co. But yeah, it's good. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Guys, let me know your thoughts and score predictions in the comment section down below. As always, be sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll be back on Saturday evening with my match review and the fans react as well. Until next time, guys, I'll see you all very, very soon.